What was quite possibly a surprise to many would be the revelation of how prominent alternative researchers are in fact doing the Callum gods' bidding. In fact, anyone who is providing information but not referencing the ears, the real guides, or awareness is in fact adding to the restriction. It doesn't make sense that an individual who is listened to by millions would not have been approached by a real guide and encouraged to share the ears. For what greater platform can there be than those who have the ear of such vast quantities of people? Everyone who is ready for the ears and the real education will find themselves inexorably steered toward the information. And surely people who are speaking to the extent that some of these alternative theorists do in regards to reptilians, etc., would surely have been presented with the opportunity of the ears at some point or another, yet they elect to not mention it. So all they are effectively doing is providing information. They are churning out ideas, and as valid as it may be, it is all just ideas in creation that through agreement has been made manifest. We can say it is just phenomena, occurrences in creation, and people latch onto these occurrences and phenomena, chasing and accumulating the knowledge, and then what? They have no solutions. All they have are agreements to ideas that result in taplining and future lifetimes. All they have are emotional attachments to the information they hear, even more taplining and restriction. We do need to know what's happening in creation, yes, but we need the solution that only the connection to our real selves and real awareness can provide. And yet not one alternative theorist will make mention of taplining, the New You song, the real guides, or the all is. They are, in essence, assisting the Callum god in keeping people trapped in creation, if they recognise this, acknowledge it, or not. They could be quite innocent in their ideas, believing in their minds that they are saving the world, but they are not saving anybody. And besides, nobody can be saved. People need to save themselves through their own decisions and awareness. And then the subtle layers extend further. We now enter the area of spirituality. All sound good ideas in creation, and perhaps at one time some of it may have contained elements of the ears, but not now. Everything is a distortion, and controlled by the reptilians. It's interesting how certain characters achieve such heights of notoriety and worldwide attention. If they really were a threat to the system, it's very unlikely they'd be allowed to operate for a start. we see certain individuals establish themselves as the gurus and spiritual leaders, the ones everyone look to, much like certain key and prominent alternative information providers. And as Kelsey was pointing out on one of her recent videos, once again, why are these spiritual leaders making no mention of the ears? And perhaps it's vaguely possible that characters like David Icke might not have come across the ears, although highly unlikely, but for argument's sake, let's say this is so. It's extremely unlikely that these spiritual peoples have not. People who tend to operate in spiritual circles are generally within reaching distance of their real awareness. A little nudge here, a dream there, a real guide giving them a shake, and they are the ones most likely to take a look. And Kelsey has also been encountering these individuals on the real side, and it would seem that they represent once again a subtle yet very real source of control. I think at this point it's safe to assume, if you're not standing real with the ears, if you're not on your process of becoming more aware, if you haven't recognized your real intent, then you represent control and restriction, regardless of the nature of the personal life you have, or the ideas you adhere to, be they spiritual, religious, or just alternative information peddling. So how does one of these characters become so prominent? In a matrix of complete control and absolute subconscious programming, I think it's rather apparent. I would suggest that not only are all unaware people locked into a subliminal program of their and the planet's demise, but they are also greatly programmed as to what they will or will not align themselves with or follow. The controllers know full well humanity is waking up, so they evidently feel it prudent to destroy everything. After all, if you pass over unaware, you find yourself in the astral, equally as unaware, and then are regurgitated back into creation again, just as unaware. Death is not your escape if you are in a state of awareness disconnect. So the controllers care not if you are here on the physical, or you pass over to the astral. You're still in their matrix of control. In the meanwhile, the controllers may well steer everybody into certain categories, just while they are destroying the planet, to keep all the waking up slaves busy, to have them chasing created ideas that lead to nothing, a spiritual path here, a religious one there. I can see them exacting a mass programming blanketing effect that has great swathes of unaware people struggling to wake up, being steered into the various feel-good, emotionally stimulating paths and idea creations that cater to their want to be more than what they've been for eons. Not only will the various spiritual paths and pursuits be created, and my goodness, how so many have popped up over the years, and the masses programmed to be a part of them, but also key individuals will be brought forth, either in full knowledge of their assignment, or in programmed ignorance to it, but either way, for the same purpose, to cater to those seeking answers, spiritual paths and gurus, to provide them the information and comfort they seek. And so people who are waking up will feel the urge, the subconscious drive, to listen to these individuals, and we have then the prominence of these key speakers, spiritual leaders, and alternative researchers. And all they are doing is revealed on the real side. They are keeping people in creation, making no mention of the ears, and having everybody tap-lined even more so. The opposite would hold true for those providing a real benefit for people, those providing the real cure, the real connection to the ears. But they are not so widely listened to. For those struggling to wake up, they will still be subject to the control of the matrix, and just as readily as the masses can be programmed to veer toward certain restricting paths and peoples, they would also very likely be programmed to be repelled by anything that is a real benefit, anything that references the ears, and any individual with a pure intent and no controlling agendas. So it's all rather a mess, really, and it might be the case that yes, there is a window to become more aware in and grasp this opportunity, but at this time the majority who have not made this leap into the unknown are so heavily locked down and programmed, it's conceivable they may not even be able to position themselves that they can even recognize the window of opportunity that is present. In regards to the various spiritual peoples and starseeds and such, Kelsey also made mention how they were not as they seem, representing yet another control factor, that they seem to be represented by some galactic council or other, but this too comes with rules, regulations, and what rules and laws are simply control. I'm rather wondering if the control that the reptilians have exercised since the creation of their slave species, the humans, is wavering and fragmenting to such an extent that they have to destroy everything now, that other forces are moving in, and that they sense an opportunity. For throughout creation, whatever force that is now in control gleaned it by taking it from another, It's very possible that this galactic council has similar intentions. Perhaps they seek to glean agreement for their position, which is the foundation from which all control systems and those that run them are based and maintained. And then, with the agreement backing, they move in and wrest control from the reptilians, or simply take over what the reptilians have left, and return it to some semblance of a livable world. In they would come, and present themselves as spiritual saviours and benefactors, and would slowly but surely secure complete agreement. But if their intentions are not in alignment with providing a real benefit, if they do not share and promote the ears, then it is another control mechanism. And yes, perhaps they may not rule with absolute tyranny, but control it still would be. For the purpose of everyone in creation is to become more aware, and recognize their real intent, that of standing real with the ears. There is no freedom in creation. It is only implied. Only real freedom can be sought in the real universes of the ears, beyond cause and effect creation. How can you be free when everything you do carries a karmic burden to be experienced?